ended up producing Thor at the Bus Stop? Because I know that wasn't a picture you directed. That I believe it's Jerry and Mike Thompson who directed that picture, but you funded that movie after seeing their short. That was the basis. Yeah. And then you also produced it with the same producer for Little Monsters, right? May Luo.
Yeah. They Jerry Thompson and Mike Thompson were both my students. They were both really excellent students, and for several years in a row, they would always win. I had forgotten what it was like to be 3. And a 3-year-old will do a take one time, and then that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And they say, "I'm bored. I want to go do something else." And so that was a real challenge. And even with the 10-year-olds who were pretty good little actors, it's difficult because they're not trained and they either have.
I know you had a lot more difficulty beyond just him not telling you not to say cut, not to say action, not to say Klaus. So I just had to know if there was anyone that was anywhere in competition with Klaus working with.
Working with actors can be a very delicate thing, especially when you're doing a movie because it goes over a long period of time, and you can start out really liking someone and then really dislike them.
Because you said you were a fan of Klaus Kinski, of the actor, but maybe not as much as the person.
Yeah, at times he had given to other directors, and you just hope it isn't going to happen. But from the very first day, he couldn't control himself, and he would get angry at somebody and just charge at them and throw his body and physically just flail at them.
And if I remember well from the one of your lines in the documentary, it was day 3 and you guys were 2 days behind in shooting. I mean that says a lot. But we'll kind of go back and talk more about Little Monsters. We got to watch this movie
as the producer, and she said yes. And then I went to Craig Boydston to see if he would be the DP. He hadn't done a feature, but I had seen a lot of his work. And I went to Ben Zuck to edit. And then I went to Ryan and Charles, and so everybody said yes. So once they said yes, then we could fill in the rest of the cast. A lot of the cast I had worked with, a lot of the cast I knew. All of the professors that were in it. There's Phil Hubbard from theater, Gilliard and Sean Clark, who's a screenwriting professor, but had been in a number of my shorts. Dean Cope, who I knew as an actor and I'd seen his work. So I wanted, these were all fairly small roles, and I'd worked with a lot of the other actors that we ended up. So he would be really happy to hear you say that.
No, I thought the music really stood out in some parts. We were go on.
No, you go.
Okay. One of the other questions I had was, did you, especially for the role of Carl, I felt I saw, me and him didn't necessarily agree so much, but I saw a lot of different other characters in Carl. Did you watch any films to prep for this movie, or have any characters in mind when you were kind of differing the two of how you wanted them to act? Like, was there any other movie characters from maybe your films or any other films that you saw?
No, I didn't. The way I work with actors is actors have a quality. I don't really give them any directions in the first rehearsals that we have. I want to see what they're going to do and what they see. And so Charles brought in, the way he was going to play the character, and Ryan brought it in our first rehearsals, so I could see what they were both doing. The only thing I talked about with Charles is way through and was just really great, and then I said, let's do one more, and he was very emotional in the first take, and he needed to prepare. He needed some moment before we rolled the camera, and so he was sort of teary-eyed, and it was a very emotional take. And then I had him do it again, still as sort of a serious take on the character, and then we did, and he was very happy with both takes. takes, and I always know when he's happy with it, then we've got it. Because he'll always ask me for another take if he isn't happy. So then I said, why don't we do the third take and just use the voice, Joey Romer voice, and just see what, not all the way through, but just, every once in a while. So it was a quirkier take on the same lines. And then when Ben cut it together, we used